Hello, welcome to the Babaloo Sports Show, where we talk everything Wisconsin sports. Today, we will be focusing on the big Bucks game for tonight, Game 3 of the playoff round with the Miami Heat down in South Beach. The series was just tied up the other night, 1-1, with a 138-122 victory by the Bucks, which was nowhere near as close as that score reflects. So, how are we feeling out there in Wisconsin, Bucks fans? What do we think about this game tonight? Anytime throughout this podcast, if you want to, just leave a comment down below, and I will get back to you and have a little chat with you about whatever it is that you're thinking and want to talk about. So, looking at this game, the past game first, it was just a total. It was a team victory. I mean, we came out just firing from threes. We Matter of fact, we hit 25 of 49 3 pointers in that game, tied an NBA record with Cleveland from a few years back. I don't remember when, but this game featured seven Bucks players in double figures. Brook led the way. He had 24 points, 4 rebounds, 2 assists. The surprising thing is we took 49 threes, and Brook only took one, which he did miss in that whole game. He was without Giannis there, without Giannis playing. Brook was the man in the middle of the whole night. They needed to keep him there. I mean, Portis was down there too, but he's not the rim defender, obviously, that Brook is. Because Bobby, he had 15 rebounds to go along with his 13 points, a double-double, 3 of 4 from threes. We had Drew with 24, 11 assists. He also had a double-double, 4 of 10 from threes. Pat Connaughton had a playoff high, career high, 22 for him, and just outstanding 6 of 10 out from three-point range. And then Joe Ingles had 17, 5 of 6 from three. And then Chris had 16, 2 of 5 from three. And Allen had 16, 4 of 8 from threes. So just an all-around scoring. All around was just a team effort. But for me, I don't know what you guys think out there. You can, again, like I said, let me comment down below. For me, the big reason for the win, Pat Connaughton, his energy, and Pat and Bobby both coming out with just a tremendous amount of energy and enthusiasm. Bobby, as we all know, gets a little overzealous sometimes and needs to be, calmed down. And you'll see that on his way to the sidelines, where you'll have people like Drew and Brooke and that'll come over and calm him down just a little bit, because he can go over the top a little bit. But I mean, that's this team they feed off of that. Connaughton was all over the place. And I just love the way the players like Pat, who didn't play in game one, which to me, I don't, that's on Coach Bud. He's got to decide that. I don't want to criticize him for it. I don't ever see why Pat wouldn't be in, but he has his rotations, he has his thoughts, and we just got to trust what he does. But yeah, you could just see it. And I know there's people that don't like Connaughton a whole lot, but I think he's a very important part of what we do as a team and the team kind of chemistry. And I think it just undoubtedly showed in this last game. And I think we need it tonight too. So, with that said, well, let's not even go on my word for it. I love this quote that I read earlier today from Brook. His quote was, we played with the mentality it takes to be a Milwaukee Buck. There's no one above anyone else. We're just out there trying to win. And I love that thought process. And you can just see it with this team, because it doesn't matter who's out there. And you don't see the bickering and arguing on the sidelines like you're seeing with these other teams, or teams attacking themselves in the media. And or themselves, each other in the media and any of that kind of stuff. Because I don't think there is any real egos on the team, not egos that are above and beyond the team. I mean, I'm sure there's their own personal thought thought process, thoughts of who they think they are, where they belong, and things like that. But they just don't portray it to the public and to the media, and that's anything that you have as a negative should be in house. That's for me. That's the only way to survive as a team and to be successful. That's just what I believe. Um, Also, another thing to put out there, Chris Middleton right now, he after these two games, he leads the team in scoring, 24.5 points, which is a team high, and he's shooting 50% from the floor. I mean, yes, he had 16 in this game, but he had over 30 in the last game, and he takes a lot of, in my opinion, undue criticism for not. Um, for lack of better thought process, for not being almost being Giannis when Giannis isn't playing. I know people throw the contract thing out there and things like that, and he was signed for a role. He plays his role. He plays his role where he's the way he's supposed to play it for the best and better of the team. For a while there, he wasn't supposed to take mid-range jumpers, and he didn't. Now he can go back to taking mid-range jumpers, and he's excelling at it again. But after this game with the balanced scoring and whatnot, he was asked about that, and his quote is spot on, if you ask me. And this was his quote, his answer to the question. It takes the whole team. I think you saw that tonight. It wasn't just one guy that carried us. A lot of people expect me or Drew to take on all the load that Giannis does. But what he does, we can't match. So we have to do it by committee. Very um, insightful, very spot on analysis of what it takes to be a winning team. And if you talk to Giannis, he'll say it's not just me. If I'm off, the other I facilitate for everybody else. It's team chemistry, locker room. In my unexpert opinion, is more important, or at least just as important as the talent you have around you. You could take the three best players in the world and put them all together on a team, and if they don't get along, it's just not going to work for you. It just won't. And you've seen some of these quote unquote super teams that have been put together. That's exactly what happened. They got put together, and just nothing ever came of it because one guy can't get along with another, or you know, arguing over minutes, arguing this or that. I mean, you see Portis, who could start on umpteen other teams, happy with his role and does his role perfectly. Um, Part of that, as he said after the game too, was because he was appreciative of what being able to come to Milwaukee and be his own player, be himself. But it's also brought on by the other people you have in the locker room. There isn't anybody in this locker room that I can see that has um, the type of personality that would make them combative or feel that they're above the others or any of that kind of thing. And that's credit to the management, credit to Coach Bud, credit to all of them, that everybody that's put this team together as it is, and the players themselves, obviously. I mean, you bring in Joe Ingles, you bring in um, Jay Crowder, and you brought in other pieces that, such as those two, that would have had more minutes on other teams, would have played more on other teams. Um, and they've just fit in fine, perfectly, even. And you don't see them worried about their minutes. I know Crowder on this previous team was complaining that he was taken out of the starting lineup. So, do you believe all those that you hear in the media there about that? Because I don't see a guy that would be complaining about not getting the minutes, you know, and not starting, unless for some reason the person that you put in starting in front of him really didn't belong there. I don't know the whole story there, so I don't want to comment on it too much. Other than I just don't see that kind of player here on the Bucks team, or that kind of personality even. So enough on that. Let's talk about the exciting things about the game tonight now. Then, so we're knotted 1-1, heading down to South Beach. Let's just look at the stats here just for a second. Like I already told you, Chris is leading us in points. Drew is leading us in assists at 13.5, and Bobby in rebounds at 11.5 per game. Oh, excuse me. Chris is hitting at a 50% clip. But as a team, right now this includes all playoff teams. So the Bucks are first in points at 128 per game. Now, you can't take these stats too literally because we've only played 2 games. Other teams have played 3. So, I mean, they're going to be a little, you got to take it into consideration and take it with a grain of salt, however you want to say it. But still, currently, the Bucks are first in points at 128 per game, and Miami's second at 126. Rebounds, we're averaging 42, which is ninth, and Miami's averaging 38, which is 14th. Assists, we're sharing the ball beautifully. 32 assists first to 29, and second for Miami. Field goal percentage, we're hitting a 52% clip, which is third. Miami is hitting 56%, which is first in the playoffs right now. So there is, if you if you nitpick, there is a place where the Bucks need to kick it up a notch. Is their defense on shooting percentages? I don't know if that means a little tighter coverage. If that means, I mean, we know that most of that percentage is coming from the first game, and then maybe the fourth quarter of this last game where we took the foot off the gas. But the biggest problem has been the 3-point percentage shooting, 51%, which is also first for Miami. But again, a vast majority of that came in the first game. The Bucks are, on the other hand, at 38% from 3-point range, which is fifth. And then free throw percentage, 77% for the Bucks, which is 10th, and 70%, which is 16th for Miami. But this game tonight, I am sitting here right now. We're 3.5 hours from game time. We don't know if Giannis is playing or not. The victory tonight for me is probably not contingent on Giannis playing. I think we take this game and take control of the series, whether he plays or not. You see how our team can, with the players that we have, how our team can fluctuate differently. Like with Brook, game 1, he plays in the middle and protects the rim. Game 1, he was protecting the rim and shooting the threes. So he was transitioning back and forth. Game 2, without Giannis there was not so much of that. He was more in the paint the whole time. So, and all of our players, Pat can drive to the basket if needed. Allen can. Obviously, Drew does. We can play so many different ways and have so many different combinations that I don't think Miami has the talent to disrupt us if we are shooting the ball well and have our mindset of how we want to play. I still think this only goes 5. I think we win the next 3 and the series is done. So, on that note, on a side note, I just saw Miami. We're playing Miami. Philadelphia, even with Embiid, sewed up their sweep today. Just a little side note there for you. But back on topic here, I think tonight's game, if it was me, if it was my decision, Giannis wouldn't be playing tonight. There's no reason for it, I don't think. But, as a competitor, Giannis is going to want to play. And you don't want to, if he really is adamant about playing, you don't want to upset the apple cart and not play him, even if you only play him for a little bit. So for me, he either plays just a small portion of minutes or he doesn't play at all. But if they want to get in a rhythm and finish this series in a rhythm, then maybe he does play. But I wouldn't take any risks because we should win this game in the series, whether Giannis plays or not. It's not to toot my own horn, but it's kind of kicked into what I said at the beginning in my preview on it. I said Chris is going to play a big role. He'll be our clutch shooter down the stretch, which obviously we haven't needed yet because the first game we weren't going to win, and this game they weren't going to win. So that didn't come into play, but he has been our top scorer. And I said Pat would step up and be a bigger contributor. Now, he did not play at all in our loss, but in our win, he's arguably the main factor in one of the main factors in our turnaround and winning this game. So just a little pat myself on my back for that prediction. And although I thought Crowder would play a little more role than he has so far, but again, it hasn't needed to be. So, and other series are different, and we may have to play a little more, even more bully ball later, and that's where Crowder comes in, along with Bobby, and Joe. Those three are all kind of known for being a little bit more physical players, more emotional players. So we will see as it goes. But tonight, my if I was to predict, I would predict something like I would predict something like a 130-115 victory for the Bucks. That's going to be my prediction for tonight. What do you guys all think? Leave a comment down here and see which one of us is closest to the correct score. Other than that, I need to start getting ready, get this edited, and get this up so y'all can read it before the game starts. Sorry, it's a little late, but been kind of a hectic couple days. But otherwise, enjoy the game tonight. We'll talk with you again in a couple days. So don't forget to smash that subscribe bar, hit the like button, and share. And we will talk with you next time. Appreciate y'all. Have a good evening. Thank you.